Going to go straight into our next match soon. I believe we're gonna see an Oldhim versus Briar matchup, which is a definitely a very interesting matchup in general. Both are heroes, of course, from Tales of Aria. Both are heroes that a lot of people love, and I'm curious to see like who can make it out on top. Of course, player skill is a huge chunk to do with that. We're going to see like who is the best player among these two players, and right now we have the deck list in front of us. So we're going to be seeing Lucas playing again. We've seen Lucas play against Glenn in the previous round. Now Lucas is up against Kevin Zenke, the one and only, and Glenn, of course, navigating Oldhim, grandfather of eternity.
As you may also know, Kevin, he's playing on his favorite Patrick Star
It's
playmat.
his infamous playmat.
Yeah, it's the infamous playmat. But yeah, Kevin's deck has some interesting options for Oldhim, but they're not really geared towards Briar. You can see he's playing the full set of Crush the Week, which is interesting for the fire matchup
Yes.
mostly. Also for Belittle Briar, but unfortunately for him, this is not Belittle Briar.
But Kevin doesn't know that.
No.
So
So
he
he,
might just end up thinking like, oh, I'm gonna bring those crush 2 weeks. Good luck with your belittles, and then there isn't a single one.
yeah. So he doesn't know that for sure. Even if he does bring them, it's still a pummel target, of course. Um, and it well, it hits swarming Gloomville. That's the only target, I believe.
Well, the other thing is, right now with Team, I don't think he can pull off a fatigue plan because at some point the Channel Mount Heroic comes down and a good Briar player, which Lucas is going to be able to set up something like a Channel Mount Heroic with a Force of Nature and then just bypassing all that blocking value that even an Team can present. So I'm a bit curious, like, will he go for a full-on aggro route or not?
Yeah, I think more recently, Olymps have found a bit more success going a bit more aggressive, right? I think usually or before they used to play very defensively, maximize the value of Ice React, maybe even play the Rampart's Head. I think
Yes.
nowadays they're swapping towards just playing Stalagmine and just playing a bit more aggressively and then using Stalagmine instead of full blocking to disrupt your turn.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
even especially in the aggro matchup, the stalagmite is very useful. Like
yeah,
even I today, because I'm so used to all teams playing the rampant set. Like even myself today, I was up against an old team and I just completely forgot about the stalagmite for a second.
yeah, and if you get the right timing, it can be really devastating
Oh yes,
because usually Briars play in a way that they can Rosetta at the end of their turn, if possible. And sometimes, if you're doing it with Tunic, you can get punished by the Stalagmite block just before the Rosetta would come in. And sometimes you block 6 with Stalagmite with just one block, and you have two of them. It's
yes,
kind of crazy. And even outside of that, sometimes in the Channel Mount turn, you block with the Stalagmite, they get caught out
yep.
if they don't have a blue in hand.
Oh yeah.
So then they have to pitch like one of their attack actions or reds, which they really don't want to do.
And the thing is with the Briar list, like we can see from I part of this is of course cyber, but I guess that Lucas is probably bringing like 17 or 18 blues. So getting caught off guard with not enough blues in hand is actually quite likely in this matchup. So we're seeing the equipment now being presented. Kevin went for the tunic with, of course, the crown of seeds, together with Crater Fist and Nullrune boots. I was curious to see the Northern boots. So seeing the boots here almost tells me that Kevin is going to try to go for a fatigue plan because otherwise he would probably want to go for something like a iron rod instead. Does he run the iron rod? Let's see. Let's
Mm,
see. I see Northern boots. No, Snapdragon
Snapdragon
Scalers.
Scalers. So that's for the Enlightened Strike. Usually
Yes.
you choose draw one and then it's like a 5 for 0.
So he's not gonna go for full aggro plan then because then the Snapdragon Scales would have probably been the better value item right here, right? So
Yeah, but I think Kevin is a very methodical player. He's not afraid of the game going longer. So it's very possible that he will like feel out the game a little bit, see if he
yes.
can get there with the aggressive path. And if not, he's more than comfortable switching back into that bit of a slower Oldhim style.
So we see an Oaken Alt coming in here. Just a normal unfused Oaken Alt.
For
Still a lot of damage though.
it doesn't. It does threaten pummel, but it's not very likely on turn 0. It could happen because he's holding 2 cards. Lucas is respecting it somewhat by 3-card blocking instead of just clean blocking. Although I guess that's 8 block, 8 or 7. Was it Sift in the middle?
I think so.
One thing to note on Lucas's side is he's playing Crown of Providence instead of the Crown of Dominion that he also has in his deck.
Well, you have to in this matchup.
You have
because, Oldhim has a lot of punishing on it effects, and getting that that blocking value out of the Crown of Dominion. Not Crown of Dominion, the Crown of Providence. I'm starting to mix up my crowns. Too many crowns.
Yeah, too many crowns in the game. Seeds is also here. But yeah, but that does mean he probably has sideboarded out his cash-ins. We'll have to see what he put in instead. I don't think I have. There's a lot of options that are okay-ish.
Well, he can side out the cash-ins and just put in a couple of extra blues, which is an option, especially to fix the earth. Like he probably brought in the evergreens. So my guess is the 2 cash-ins went out and the 2 evergreens went in.
That's
Just
possible.
have some kind of a end game plan in case it is a fatigue ulti plan, because the evergreen will just continuously go back into the deck.
Do you think he's playing the Sink Belows?
Sing below, yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
It's pretty interesting. He's opting for 5 defense reactions in his list. I think a lot of players play around 2 or 3. Either they choose Sync or Sigil, but Lucas is double dipping. He's taking both. Sigil's better in the aggro matchups. Sync is better if you expect your opponent to have AB1.
Yep.
Um,
Also, interesting choice to go for 2 sigils, because like I do know some players that like to have like either 3 defense reactions in the sideboard or 6, but not 5. Like 5 seems like an odd number. I would love to hear from Lucas what is the reasoning behind that once we actually get to speak to him, if we get to speak to him.
here we see the Vigor Rush. It does not have Go again, so yeah, it's just a hit for 4.
So how do you feel about Figure Rush in this list?
Um, I like Vigor Rush in Briar. Lucas is playing the full 3. I don't think I've ever played the full 3, but it's a good card in matchups where you get to play out your full hand. It's just another way to get Go again. You don't always have the double non-attack action to get the embodiment of lightning. So it's actually quite neat. Usually you also have a blue if you're doing this kind of thing. But on the flip side, it can also be kind of awkward. Sometimes you really just wish you had a 4 for 0. Like, I think he cut Coax, right?
Yeah, I didn't see Cogs in the list, which is something that is a bit surprising to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I think especially in Briar, Cogs is just such a power play. If you get your channel mount down and you have like an embodiment of lightning token and the Cogs hits, you can get that card draw, you can get that quicken token. So it's he's probably thinking outside of the box. There must be a reason why he doesn't bring it, but I like to have my Coxes in my personal prior lists.
I don't hate the Vigor Rush. I think there's a couple core attack actions that you're playing. It's like Ravenous Rabble, Snatch, Scar, Lightning Surge. Those are like your core. Oh, and then Lightning Strike. I think outside of that, you have a couple flex slots. So outside of that, you see where lists really start to vary. So there's like various options like Vigor Rush. You have Coaxic Motion. You have Nimble Strike sometimes.
Exude Confidence is kind
Exude
of
Confidence, which I expect he brought here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, outside of that, it's a bit of a flex slot, in my opinion. And it really varies what people bring there. But he's chosen for 3 Vigor Rush and 3 Exudes. But
I mean, it's good. It's a guaranteed go again, right? So after you've played your non-attack, so there's a lot of value in just having that guaranteed go again in general. So
yeah, but I think it's a bit more sketchy in this matchup specifically. Depending on how aggressively the Oldhim plays, you may not have the full hands that you want to play with. And if you're stuck with a 1-card hand in this Vigor Rush, you're really sad, right?
It's nice to see the Frost Yama being respected here.
Did he block it for 4?
He blocked it for fire with 2 cards.
Sure.
So we see another Ravenous Rebel coming down.
This one for 2 probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels bad to find the blue on top when you do play the Ravenous Rebel.
I mean, it's such a good card, but sometimes you hit the blue.
Yeah.
Can't really do much about it. It's just how it goes sometimes.
You hit the tome.
Yeah, sometimes you hit the tome and it's 5, so I don't think I ever did that in an actual tournament. Maybe once. But yeah, it's pretty great if you hit it for 5. But this turns a bit sad for Lucas. I think it's just Rebel Pass, right?
Yeah, but it's fine. Like, if you look at the life totals, like, nothing really significant has happened. He hasn't really been able to set up a proper Channel Mount heroic turn, anyways. So I think for Lucas at this point, it's pretty much to buy time. Try not to take too much damage, so when he does have his big turn, that he can just take a big hit and just go all in.
Yeah, but the problem here is that because his turn was so weak, Kevin didn't even have to think about taking the 2, and now he's just getting roused and need to hammer. Luckily for him, there's no disruption on the hammer, as I don't think he revealed the ice card, but it's still 11 damage going your way.
Yep.
But it's no disruption. So if you have a good hand, you can just take 11. Obviously, if you have mount, you're gonna take 11, but we'll see what he chooses to do here. He's thinking about it, so it's not the kind of hand that you say, okay, I'm taking everything, I'm gonna play out my entire hand. Apparently,
Also depends on what you have. If you have like 3 non-attacks, then it may still require some thinking like, do I want to take this or not? Especially since he has the embodiment of Earth already, so...
yeah, I think he's not just thinking for this attack, most likely. He's thinking for the entire turn. It's pretty transparent that there's gonna be a hammer after this. So he could throw 1 card here. I don't think there's a world he throws 2 unless his hand is really, really bad.
But there's no Frostbite being...
Yeah, there's no Frostbite, so there's no real threat on this. So Lucas might be going for a big turn here. He got to keep his whole hand. There's no crush effect on him. There's no Frostbite. He has Tunic up even.
And I guess in Lucas's case, he just... I think as a Briar player, you want to get the Oldhim blocking. Like, if you can get them to block with at least 3 cards out of the hand every single turn, then you know in their turn they're not gonna suddenly put a big crush effect on you.
Wow, okay.
So we see a...
He fused the Force first, and then he played Tome of Harvest in case he doesn't draw another Earth card, probably.
I think he's just hoping for that Channel Mount now.
Well, that's what you're always hoping for, but it's not always what you get here.
I mean, there's plenty of other options in the deck, right? Let's see what... he has the Bramble Sparks.
He has an E-Strike in hand, it's pretty good here.
Oh yeah, the E-Strike also.
He can now choose draw 1, and then...
Well, he already has the +1 from the Force of Nature, and I think it's on the first attack, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry?
The Force of Nature, I think the +1 is only on the first attack.
The Force of Nature +1 is only on the first attack. The on-hit draw, if your power is more than base, is on every attack.
I know. But we're seeing the Runic Reclamation coming in with Go again. 8 is a very awkward number, especially when there is a on-hit draw.
I'm a bit surprised he's chosen to run the Runic Reclamation in this matchup. It's a big attack.
Probably to get rid of Channel Lake Fridges or something.
Here. It's here. Yeah. So now it's just a hit for 8, but also a hit for 8 that draws 1 on hit. So Kevin has to respect it and blocks the full amount. The nice thing for Lucas is he can opt to do E-Strike 7, threatening on hit draw, but I think Kevin can block it out with his hand and Crown of Seeds. But it's not for sure.
Well, if he Crown of Seeds, yes, the tuning available, you're right.
Yeah, because he can pay the tunic resource
Yep,
for the 7th, but that's assuming he has 2-3 blocks in hand.
that's exactly what we're seeing now. Crown being activated.
Well, obviously he can draw one also, so it just needs to be 2-3 blocks in the 3 cards.
How many cards does Lucas have left in hand? Because this could be a very good spot
I think it's 0.
to use like an ice react.
I think it's 0. I think Lucas kind of played around the ice react by doing +2, but also if the 7 hits, he draws one anyways, and then he gets it in Arsenal.
Yep.
So that's what he was going for there. But Kevin had the full block, and now there's also a hammer coming his way. So
I mean, the hammers are fine, right? Like, for the most part, it's just damage. Of course, the frostbite is quite annoying, but it's not something that a Briar player can't play around.
that's true. Especially if you have a blue. Usually, it's just gonna cost you the rune chant, and then you can still Rosette at the end if you want to.
Yes.
If that's how it lines up. I think we see Mount in his hand though.
Yeah,
Mount
it
and a
could
Tome of
be
Harvests. So
the one at the back is either a Bramble Spark or a Tome.
I think it's Tome. And he can actually take the Frostbite here because he has the Tunic available if he has 0 cost attack actions. Because you can pitch the blue for Tunic. You still have 3 resources. You can play the Mount and then you can play your 0 cost attack and then maybe Arsenal. Kind of depends on what your hand is.
The difficult thing is by playing the Channel Mount Heroic now, it's gonna cost 2 cards, which may mean that Kevin just won't block and presents a crush effect in the next turn.
Yeah. But he does know Kevin's playing on a forehand without having Crown of Seeds available. Oh, he's just playing out the Runic Reclamation. That's a big Runic Reclamation.
I mean, it's coming in for 10.
That's a big boy Runic Reclamation.
So what does Kevin? I think he has a Spinal Crush. I bet that Kevin just takes this or blocks with 1 card from hand. Probably just takes the whole thing so that he can Arsenal and still be able to play out that Spinal Crush.
But Spinal Crush is
Spinal Crush 6 or 7?
Spinal Crush is 9.
It's 9?
Yeah, it's 9.
Okay, then I'm completely outdated.
Spinal Crush is 9, it costs 5. Or what do you mean? The power or the cost?
The cost.
The cost is 5. It hits for 9, sorry. So,
Okay,
but
5, so it's a bit cheaper than I thought.
it's not a huge problem for Lucas. Because if we think it 1 turn ahead, right? The Tunic's going to take up to 2. He can pitch 2 cards to play Spinal. Sometimes there's a scary situation where they have Tunic floating or Tunic on 3. And then they're floating 1 with the Tunic and they can pummel you.
Yes.
That's like the super scary one. But luckily for Lucas, he's 1 turn cycle away, 1 Tunic counter away from that. So that can't happen to him. I think just the Spinal Crush is not that bad for him.
The thing is, the Spinal Crush, if he has a Channel Mount Heroic, so he wants to play his hand, right?
Yeah.
And if he takes a Spinal Crush, then he can only do 1 action, and he would really need another big attack like the Runic Reclamation to make it worth it, kind of.
Yeah, but he's not going to take the Spinal, probably. He's probably going to 1 card block and then 2 equipment, depending on how much the... Oh, but he has Winter's Bite. That's actually really annoying for Lucas.
That's nasty.
Because he just spent his Tunic to play the Mount and the Runic Reclamation. Otherwise, you could use your Tunic to pay for the Winter's Bite.
Yes.
But now it's forcing a card out of your hand, and then there's still the Spinal Crush. So this may like almost be just as bad as the pummel. Not quite, but it's pretty good. I wouldn't complain if I was Kevin. So now Lucas like, yeah, what do I
Like
do?
just looking at Oldhim punching him out and like, get out of my way.
Yeah. But he should also know that Kevin's not no blocking him for no reason.
Yep.
So there's something coming after the winter. Oh, that's such a good card. That's such a good card in your mount turn. What do you have? I think it's Burgeoning, Captain's Call, and something. Exude. Exude Confidence. Oh, that's a... I think this may be a 1 card block. You take the crush effect and then you exude him. I think it may be that kind of deal. Unfortunately for him, it's not a double Earth Blue. Because then he could do something like exude, double pump, and then keep up the Mount Heroic for another turn.
Well, the other thing that he can do in this situation is just take the full 9. Play the execute, pump it, and then put Captain's Call into the arsenal for the next turn.
Yeah, but damage-wise, I think he might as well. Well, I think, yeah, it's about the same. That's true. Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's either he blocks 2 or he pumps 2. It depends on if he wants to be both of them to have 2 more life or not. I think I like blocking 2. Oh, but he's blocking 5.
Interesting.
I think I like arsenaling the Captain's Call. Whether you block with the burgeoning or you use it to pump,
Yep.
I think it's about the same. But this means you're not playing with an arsenal,
On the
which
other hand,
it does
his
play
life
around.
total is higher now.
That's
You
true.
don't get into that endgame situation as fast.
That's true. And it also helps him in case Kevin draws a Command and Conquer.
And he can still play that execute for 7, so that's a
Yeah.
good number.
Yeah, Luke is like, yeah, I guess I have nothing left to do. I just play Exude Confidence.
Oh no, there's no 7 on this dice. Attacks are too big.
Attacks are too big for the dice. It's 2 crush the weeks.
Double block.
Well, at this point, Kevin is like, okay, you're not belittle, Briar. I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
It's gonna take 1. It's gonna give the embodiment.
But he did bring them.
He did bring them.
He did kind of expect there to be belittles in there.
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if you have it. It's like a 7 for 3. That's a pummel target.
So we see a snatch in hand and what's that, an E-strike?
I'm not sure.
I think that's one of the Vigor Rushes together with the E-strike.
And a snatch and a Bramble Spark. So this hand is a bit awkward. The Bramble Spark can't be fused. The Vigor Rush can't have go again unless you play the Bramble Spark.
And the Vigor Rush costs 1, which is also
You don't have
awkward.
you don't have a blue.
So we see a 5 block.
Yeah, so he blocks with the Vigor Rush and the Light Strike, so he's holding Snatch and Bramble, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So probably gonna see a Bramble into a snatch, and then
No, I think he's just gonna Snatch and Arsenal the Bramble. But I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't think it's worth playing the Bramble here. Because if he blocks you for 4, then you play the Bramble for 1 arcane damage.
the fuse effect is a +3.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't always get the +3.
I
You have
had
to
a
fuse
bit
for
mixed up. In my mind, I had that arcane is the fuse.
Yeah, but then it would be always better than Nimblism. So
True.
that's why before I think really old lists of Briar never played the Bramble Spark, and then people started playing the Bramble Spark later. But yeah, this is kind of the reason why it's showing its weakness here. If you have a Nimblism, you're hitting for 7.
Yep.
But now Kevin just crown. He even did it super efficiently with Tunic. So it's only a 1 card commitment for Kevin to not give Lucas an arsenal. It's definitely something he's willing to give up here. And now he has a 4 card hand, but Kevin has not been playing. He's not bullied him that much.
No.
He hasn't pummeled him.
Well, he played his Oakenhold on turn 1, so
Yeah.
that was already 1 Oakenhold gone.
Yeah.
Let's see, does he run Remembrance? He does not, so
I think this is Red Glacial fused or non-fused. So it's a big attack for 10. And it doesn't have a crush effect, but 10 is a lot of damage.
yeah.
Okay, so he's blocking with.
Seeing a.
He's full blocking it. So yeah, Kevin's definitely okay with this. He traded his 3 cards for your 4 cards.
I mean, from Lucas's side, right? The only way that he's gonna win this is with a big combo turn. So he's probably better off just preserving his life total right now until he can go for that big turn with like a Channel Mount Heroic together with the Bramble Spark and everything at once.
Yeah. So he's still holding the Bramble Spark in Arsenal there.
Yes.
He's using Tunic to just swing for 2. think Kevin's holding a Lighted Strike and a Spinal.
Using the Tunic resource for that though.
He's just trying to do anything he can with the resources. I think it, it's a debatable point. I think it's okay to use Tunic for Rosetta here. It looks very weak, but this is an off turn anyways, and you're gonna get your Tunic back on 1 in the turn that you're actually doing something. I
This
think
is
it's
the thing
okay.
that I'm thinking about if there's suddenly another winter spite coming and you don't have your tunic ready to mitigate that.
That's definitely
It can
true.
get very painful, especially when you're not doing much in your turn. You know that the Oldhim player is already gonna have at least 3 cards in the hand, so the likeliness of there being a winter spite there is it's quite big.
That's true. I do agree with that. But yeah, on the other hand, if you always respect the Winter's Bite, it means your Tunic's gonna stay on 3 inefficiently.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, it's a toss up, right? What evil am I facing?
yes. Especially since one has been played already, so there's maximum 2 left in the deck.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
Kevin
3.
is running 3.
I think you don't block this E strike. He has a sink. I think I saw it. Ooh.
Also, I don't know if he has pitched any of the Winter's bite earlier.
Huh. Just a warm hammer for 4. I think he was holding a sink below for this hammer in case it was ice, like with a frostbite.
I think that's a tome in the hand, right?
I think it's Captain's Call, sink, and something.
I think it's a Gorganian tome,
It
and I
could
might
be,
be mistaken.
but
Taking the
it's
4 down to 14. 14 is a very dangerous place to be against Oldhim.
yeah. Lucas's hands are not lining up that well. Because if you're right and it's actually the Greganian tome, that means he still can't fuse his Bramble Spark that's been sitting there. But he might draw into an Earth card. Wait, but did we see an attack in his hand?
I'm not sure.
Oh, there's a Lightning Surge. I think there's a Command and Conquer. I don't know what the bottom card is.
Okay, there is the Bramble.
No fuse. Very key here.
I
No
think he
fuse.
wants to get that sink below into the arsenal,
Yeah,
probably.
that's definitely true. But yeah, he's playing a very, very awkward game. He got Winter Spited without Tunic. He's now Bramble Sparking without fusing.
Kevin is stuck with 2 sink belows there. And I think he doesn't have a blue, which means that he won't be able to swing with the hammer next turn. Or is that a blue? Or maybe it is, the second card. Alright, there's the sink. 1 card goes to the bottom.
Maybe fishing for the blue. I think there's Autumn's Touch now, right? Or yeah.
It might have been, yeah, there's an autumn start for sure. And I think there's a, what's the thing called? Checking the list quick. Winter's Grasp, that's the one. I think that's in the end as well.
So he pitched the Command and Conquer to do 2 and 2.
I mean, would crowning be worth it here? Crown and Nolran boots?
Don't think so. Well, what's the bottom card? Have you spotted it?
No.
Because if it's a blue, you're pretty okay with Spinal Crushing here for 9. I think.
Sorry, that card is a Winter's Grasp, I think.
Okay, so he has 6 resources. I think he's pretty okay with just Spinal Crushing. Then for the turn after, he can crown his arsenal with the Tunic if he needs to.
I mean, once you start playing your Spinal Crushes and...
Oh, he's blocking with the Spinal Crush.
Oh.
And he's ice reacting, so he's just holding the Autumn Touch for the hammer. He's now playing the, well, I'm 9 life ahead. Let's just slow this game down. I'm just gonna hammer you. Well, I still can with the Winter's Will. Because he won't be able to anymore on Monday.
The Channel Mount Heroic has appeared.
Really?
Yes, it's the second card in the hand.
might be the perfect time because there's no real threat from Kevin this turn. It's just a Warhammer, not
It's
even a
just
Frostbite.
damage.
He's on 14. It's still quite okay. He still has armor too. I think this block is a bit strange
Yeah. Well, he corrected it straight away.
because you might need it in case Kevin has the crush next
Yes.
turn.
Especially after you put channel mount down.
I think is it like sync mount, Earth or Surge,
There's an Earthler Surge for sure, yes. So
and then
there's the mount.
hopefully one attack for him. I think it's Lightning Surge,
I think so, yeah.
and then sync goes
And
to
then
Arsenal.
sinking
That's
goes
quite
off. So
fun.
that's a good turn.
That's
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 a high value turn
that's
actually.
pretty good. If Kevin does have the disruption, then you can sync your worst card if you need to. I think that's a pommel in Kevin's hand. Kevin might try to set up something with the pommel here to disrupt him. He can also crown. What is it? Pommel, Winter's Grasp.
Is that a Command and Conquer there? Yes, there is. Third one is a Command and Conquer. I mean, playing that CNC into a pommel is also
That's brutal.
quite risky or quite dangerous.
Because he's gonna have Arsenal the sync, but the sync can't be played on the Command and Conquer, so
There's another Crush tweak. I guess the Crush will be put in
wow.
front of this.
Apparently we've hit 335 viewers. That's pretty crazy.
335, wow.
I guess NA woke up by now. And they're also watching us.
So now we have more viewers than players today, I guess.
Yeah. That's quite amazing.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
So he blocked out the Command and Conquer. He's playing very conservatively.
I mean, he's almost there, right? Lucas is at 10.
You should definitely trust what Kevin does over what I do, so. Just presenting the Frostbite here. He's slowly clocking Lucas. I think he's gonna sink, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Quite a good spot for the sink. Now
A
he
3-card hand is also solid with channel mount, so.
It just needs like one go again and then one non-go again. It's already quite a decent turn. If somehow he does double go again and snatch, then he's the best Briar player in the world. Okay, not 3 attacks.
Okay.
Just command. And if he had double Earth, he could have considered Grasp into command to keep up the mount. So it's probably not a blue Earth. He probably doesn't want to Arsenal blue Earth anyways. So it's probably not a go again attack because you just played a go again attack into Command and Conquer, right? So we're just.
But the command is being respected by the looks of it.
I mean, Kevin has shown a willingness to block a Lightning Surge for 7. He's probably willing to block this for 9 and then hammering you again.
Yes.
I mean, if he does that, he's survived the channel mount turn without much harm done, honestly. And he didn't even pressure that much.
This is the second channel mount rogue already, and he is still at 23.
Yeah, this is looking like a very, very comfortable game for Kevin so far, but.
And I guess the odds of Lucas drawing into yet another channel mount rogue are quite slim at this point.
Yeah. I wonder what the card he's holding is. I think it could be like Vigor Rush. It could be Snatch, I think. But then he would have blocked a bit more aggressively, maybe. But there was nothing to block, it was just a hammer. It's not Bramble Spark, because he would have played Bramble Spark. He had the Earth to Fuse. He already played Gork Tome. I wonder what it is. It could be.
I think he went through all 3 of his things already, right?
I think he went through 2, but maybe you're right. I don't think it's a Lightning Strike either.
Okay.
I'm really curious to see what it is.
Kevin took the whole thing.
Including the trigger on the arsenal?
Looks like it.
Wait, that's the pummel he had
It's a
still.
red one, I think.
It's a quite a good card he's giving up here. But he has Rouse. He might be looking to like Rouse into another thing, like Hammer or another attack. I think he's Command and
There's
Conquer
Command and Conquer as well, yeah.
and E Strike. So, oh, but E Strike and Command and Conquer don't cover for Rouse. The requirement.
No, but he can E-Strike, go again, play Command and Conquer after that.
Yeah. So that's probably it then.
Or he could Hammer and just Arsenal the CNC. I think that's what we're gonna see here. Depending on how Lucas blocks here, he will either go for the CNC, and if Lucas doesn't block, then well, if he doesn't block, he probably goes for the CNC, and if he does block, then maybe the hammer is the better choice here.
So he blocked with the Pulse of Candlehole. The blocks are 4
Yes.
because of the embodiment. So the hammer coming in now. I think he's holding another sync, no?
Yes.
He's like, yeah, might as well sync, I guess. It's not syncing.
Is that? Did he draw into the next mount heroic, or am I seeing?
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Like you've gotten rid of 2 mounts. Here's a third.
I wonder why he has an Arsenal. I think it's a tag that doesn't have Go Again, or one that has Go Again from Arsenal, like Lightning Surge or something. Okay, so it was an attack that doesn't have Go Again, but that's like the best 3-card hand you can see probably. It forces a block. The mount will be up next turn. Given this has his Crater
Kevin
Fist
has
block
a
still,
kind of like frigid in hand, so
but does he have ice?
yeah, he does. He has a blizzard, I think, and a channel like frigid,
Okay, that's quite sick.
and then a glacial footsteps. And the front card is, I forgot the name of this one. The one with Heath. The blue one.
Something Thunder?
Yeah, I think
Roll?
Thunderquake or something.
Yeah, I think it's Thunderquake. So just 3-card blocks it. Wait, did he block away the CLF then?
Yes.
Interesting. So Kevin's saying, I'll just disrupt you with this Frostbite, but
But the thing, by blocking with the channel like now, Lucas doesn't have an arsenal, so
yeah, but he could have blocked with the Crater Fist. But I don't think he could have played CLF and Hammer. So he chose to Hammer over playing CLF. Because he definitely could have covered 7, I think, with the
with
Crater
the Crater
Fist.
Fist, but then he has to block with the Stalagmite as well, right? So
Does he? It's like 2 cards in the Crater Fist, right?
I think the Crater Fist is a 1 block, and
Yeah, but it's like two times 3 and 1. On
yeah,
same.
yeah.
So Kevin is playing a bit of a dangerous game here. He's giving Lucas the space. If somehow Lucas draws a God Hand now,
Oh,
well,
oh no.
I mean, it doesn't have to be the God Hand yet. That's quite good. He has to reveal the top still. Rumble Sparks.
It's a res.
That's 4, 5 because was Force of Nature fused?
Yes.
Yeah, it was fused with Autumn Starch, right? So, yeah, 5, 8. And it's on hit draw. So Kevin has to respect this and throw some cards in front of it, but I think there's like CC remaining, right? CNC?
Which is still great, because the CNC is very likely to hit here.
Yeah, if he commits 2 cards. If he commits 2 cards here, it can be a bit tricky to block the CNC, but he has Tunic up to get the Arsenal card out. So the CNC effect itself won't hurt him, but the damage might. Because it's still 17. And if the CNC hits, it will draw from the Force of Nature as well. So Using Tunic to crown.
Okay. I mean, getting as much information as possible before blocking is good, so. Blocking with the Stalagmite doesn't do anything either.
Yeah, it would purely be for the block value because he's already seen that Lucas has a blue. And yeah, and he even has a Tunic counter if he were to have like Runic Reclamation again, even though he already played 2. Kevin doesn't know how many he has. He can, I think he even has Sync below, right? Or is it not Sync below the bottom card?
I think it's a sync, yeah.
So he's choosing to block this 8. He's aware that this Frostbite probably doesn't do anything, but he's just preventing the on-hit draw from the Force of Nature. And now he's 3 cards to block the CNC. But the problem is he has a Sync. Oh, he's Ice Reacting. That's quite good here. It may be better than he even realizes it is. Because now the CNC won't come in. Probably it's Rosetta. But even if he wants to Rosetta, he has to pitch the card.
He has to pitch regardless, and he might, depending on what he kept, he might even need to pitch to activate Tunic.
So with the Ice React, it's not just the 2 physical damage block. The Frostbite actually does something now.
Alternatively, yes, he just kept the red in hand and he's just gonna Arsenal now and pass.
Yeah, that's
possible. Because Kevin
too.
is just down to 2 cards now, and
yeah, I think that's fine.
But then you want to get as much value as possible out of that Channel Mount Rogue, and this just wasn't it.
Yeah, I think almost every turn he played like 1 attack only off of the Channel Mount. What's happening here? So he's kept the blue in hand and he's just using Rosetta. He still has a damage preventing floating from the crown because he full blocked the attack.
Okay, so only 1 damage from the arcane.
Yeah, and then 2 physical. He might opt to take everything, and then hammer and arsenal.
Didn't he still have floating from the hypothermia though?
No, it's ice react.
I ice reacted.
He used tunic for crown.
Okay.
It's probably just the same story. It's probably just hammer arsenal.
So it's gonna be hammer arsenal, the thing below.
Even with a frostbite on top.
But it's gonna be very tough for Lucas now because he went through all his big combo cards now.
Also, it's a bit awkward here because this is one of the turns Lucas didn't get to have his embodiment of Earth, and I think he has Autumn's Touch that is 3 block, fortunately for him. But I think you see him being punished for not taking the Arsenal route here because he has a Tome of Harvests.
Yes.
And that would have been really nice to play here, especially with the Bramble Spark. Yeah, he could have. Of course, you don't know what you're going to draw off the top, so can't really blame him for it, but he could have played Bramble Spark Fused and Tome with the Tunic. Would have been quite nice, even through the Frostbite if he wanted to.
Yeah, he has the blue, so he can just pitch the blue to activate the Tunic to get rid of the Frostbite and then continue with the turn.
But now it's looking like Bramble Spark Snatch. Bramble Spark Fused Snatch.
Fused, so
yeah.
The Snatch is gonna be 7 and 1 arcane.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think he's gonna pitch, yeah, because Tome of Harvest is like the worst card in Arsenal. It's literally unplayable, and he lost his Crown of Providence. So this attack does not have go again. But he's priced into doing this because he doesn't want to Arsenal the Tome. In the best case scenario, he hits something like Sonata off the top from the draw, and he could continue his turn if he really wanted to, but probably he's just going to Arsenal. If this even hits. I don't think this is going to hit.
So the Arcane being activated.
My Crown? Or does he still have this D-React? He probably has Sync. Yeah, Sync.
I was seen a Sync earlier, so... So Kevin now has a how many cards in hand? Two. Just going the same route, swing with hammer, Arsenal.
And you may think like, why would you pitch a blue for I can bury a one, right? Because he's not doing anything else with the two floating. But on the other hand, it looks like Kevin can't do anything with the extra card in hand anyway. So he might as well prevent the one damage and then Arsenal here. Because it looks like he just wants to keep an Arsenal the rest of the game so he can play defensively if he needs to.
I mean, he's leaking damage little by little because coming in for forward at hammer is awkward.
Oh, this hand is awkward for Lucas. Did you see it? I think it's
didn't.
Exude, Figure Rush, and Lightning Surge. Something like that. So none of them have go again.
Okay.
That's pretty rough. So it's just gonna be one attack pass? Is he making a rune chant? No, he's just figure rushing.
But why take the one then?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, honestly.
Is he trying to bluff Kevin into overblocking here?
But it's so like what can happen here? You can get lightning pressed. That's the worst that could happen to you, probably. But even that's not the
Razor
worst.
Reflex?
That's true. But even Razor Reflex means he's pitching another card. Because clearly he didn't have a blue, else he wouldn't have tunicked. It means he's pitching another card for the Razor Reflex, and then he's swinging Rosetta for 2, which is okay. It's 9 damage.
Still curious, taking that damage just to preserve that last card in hand. But that was the execute, I guess, right? So
Yeah, but
I
I kind of agree with you with that. I think he should have just blocked the hammer for 5 and then played
but
one.
on the
But
other
he's
hand,
playing around Ice React, so
on the other hand, that's one thing, and secondly, like now he has to figure rush in Arsenal, right? So all he has to do is play that non-attack.
he's a lightning surge in Arsenal.
Play the it's the lightning surge in Arsenal.
Yeah, because he played the Vigor Rush here.
I played the figure rush just now.
Yeah,
but still, the lightning surge has go again.
Yeah, the lightning surge is go again.
So having that's just a guaranteed attack, and then the execute confidence on top of that is kind of gonna stop any kind of ultimate react.
Yeah. So yeah, he's playing around Ice React, but it's really painful for Briar to have to play around Ice React this way, because now they can just choose to not Ice React you, and then you have a 2-card hand end of turn.
Yes.
But yeah, is he giving up the arsenal? And he's getting pummeled.
Oh.
So this is like the most disgusting combo you can do in Flesh and Blood. It's like pitch blue, tunic, CNC pummel.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of broken. And the card in Arsenal is so good. It's 4 go again. And now he has to discard? Whoa. And
he probably has to discard the execute and keep the sync now because
yeah, he's gonna discard execute pretty. Oh, I mean I could see that too, but I think he's gonna die. I think he's in danger of dying because now if he gets hammered, it's like a 2-card block or a block with the equipment.
Well, that's why I might have kept the sync here because one, the hammer is gonna come.
Yeah,
something is gonna come.
Yeah.
So you might as well have the 4 block instead.
Yeah, I think I agree with keeping the sync over the second execute here.
But it's quite a mind game though when you see the execute coming in and you're wondering like why was this thing being discarded?
Yeah, but Kevin's still at a healthy life total. Even like the worst case happens, he gets lightning pressed. He's still alive and kicking, so he's kind of fine. And at this point, all he needs to do is find one dominate attack and it's over. And I think it's here actually. So yeah, that should be it. Especially without the sync now.
Still really well played for both players.
Could he have survived if he had kept sync? Maybe.
I don't think so, because he can block 3 from hand, 4 from Arsenal, is still 3 damage coming through. He didn't have any block on the equipment left other than the boots and the tunic, so that would still be that 1 damage coming through.
Yeah, but he's Briar within embodiment. He could have had like mount or this rounds on me for the 4 block.
Yeah, then he could have survived.
But it's very narrow. It's very narrow.
You don't expect a glacial footsteps at this point, right?
No, but yeah,
it's very hard to keep track of your own pitch stack, let alone in all teams.
989 followers. That's kind of crazy too.
People want to see you win this event.
So it looks like Arlie's gonna run off and check the other match. I think the other match is
It's
also
an
an Oldhim.
it's Oldhim versus Fi.
Fi. Yeah. Yeah.
So it should be a quick match theoretically, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think mostly Olims are just playing super aggressive now because Fi can't block anything.
so Gantangelo says one step closer for Living Legend Oldhim.
I think Olim is
Well,
quite far away, right?
he's very far away from becoming a Living
I
Legend.
think the list is like Briar, something, and then
Briar,
Icelander.
Briar, I think Briar's like 40 points away from hitting
Yeah.
Living Legend. So even with the Pro Quest still coming up, I don't think Briar can hit Living Legend. And Ultim, I think, is around like 300 or 400 at the moment.
Yeah.
So Ultim is probably gonna be sticking around for at least another year,
Yeah.
maybe even 2 years. Especially with the Winter's Will now being gone. They really banhammered Ultim.
They banhammered the hammer.
They banhammered the whole team.
Yeah. As you see, it's still a very potent deck.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't even think he did very many super broken things in this game.
We might see a shift for all team going more towards like Earth now that the Winter's Will is gone, because you still have I forgot the name of the other hammer, but that one can still attack for 4, right? If you
Titan's
pitch
Fist?
Titan's Fist, yeah.
Yeah, you have to pitch 3 cost. But the problem, yeah, so
Almost everything is a 3 cost in an all team deck, so
for Earth it works. It's a bit awkward for Ice, so yeah, maybe you cut Ice now because Ice doesn't actually have that many 3 costs.
yeah.
So I think you may be right that they're gonna pivot away from Ice. Yeah, we'll see if they play
But
Earth cards.
it's early speculation. We don't know what's gonna happen in the meta, I guess. But I would be really interested to see like how would an Earth all team function in the current meta. But I guess we need to wait 2 or 3 weeks and then we'll know. I
Maybe-
do know there is a interesting list circulating around, like a Sunkiss all team. I don't know if
I've
it's
seen that.
viable at all, but
I think Dennis Sang from New Zealand. He
yes.
played a like super fatigue Olim. It's like Sun Kiss, Sigil of Solace, obviously,
Yes.
and then Healing Bomb. I think even
Okay.
like all the 3 heals, and he's playing like triple Remembrance or something, something like that. I saw something crazy like that. And I think he won back-to-back Pro Quests. So
Without going into time, so I guess
that's quite an achievement as well. But yeah, that I heard some of his opponents just conceded out of depression, but I don't know if that's true or not.
well,
I mean, if you're playing against Heal 9 Oldhim with triple Remembrance,
like
oh,
he was like, if LSS doesn't release a cleric, I'll make a cleric. Ultimate cleric now.
I can heal. I can heal just fine.
I mean, everyone can heal like that, so
Yeah, that's true. Not all of them have the.
we're in for the Sunkiss meta.
It's so sad. You play Sunkiss, but you still don't play the Moon Wish. Even without the draw card, you play the Sunkiss, but you don't play the Moon Wish.
How would you build a deck though if you wanted to include Moonwish in that? Probably need to run stuff like Time Snap potions to get the action point back. There's
I think
no easy way to give go again to the Sunkiss, right?
I think it's like a weird. It could be like a weird Runeblade Creepers deck,
True.
but I mean it could work. But then you still. I think you need to hit. Do you need to hit Moonwish to search the Sunkiss?
Which one is first? Is it the Sunkiss first that searches the Moonwish, or the Moonwish? Probably the Moonwish.
I think the
that
Moonwish searches
Sunkiss.
the Sunkiss,
Yes.
and the Moonwish is the. I think it's 5 for 1, something like, or 5 for 2, something like that.
Not the worst damage either, but
No, but a lot of people are just gonna tank it or not tank it, block it.
yeah.
So I don't know, it might work. Who knows? Okay, so we have the bracket here. Shockingly, out of the 3 mirrors, in the 5 mirror, the fire one, the Oldhim one, We don't know the result of the fight against Oldhim yet, but he'll be facing Kevin in the finals here. It could be an Oldhim mirror or another. If it's Raffaello that makes it to the finals, he gets to play against Oldhim again.
I mean, it depends on what kind of a list Sebastian is running, right? But if it's an aggro ult team, then Fi has a decent chance of winning, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think. I don't know. Without seeing the list, I'm not sure. I kind of think I like Oldhim in the matchup.
Let's have a look. We do have some lists here to see if we can find the list. There's Raffaello at your side, and let's see, Sebastian's list. It's a very blue heavy list.
You know, I was just looking at how similar he's playing a Frostfang.
I mean, Frostfang it's great.
It's someone that discards on hit, right? Or pay 2?
Yes, but if you play Frostfang into things like Fi, because they have so many 2 blocks in the deck,
Yeah.
it makes it very awkward for them, especially since the 3 blocks are usually either on the finishes or the blue pitches. And
Yeah.
both are cards that you want to get out of a Fi's hand, so I can imagine that the Frostfang is here just for the Fi matchup. Maybe Dash, but I guess against Dash it may not be as good. And a Thunderquake red, that's something you also don't see frequently.
Frostfang is also a pummel target.
Oh yes.
In case you're
There are plenty of pummel targets in this deck.
in case you're really angry.
If you pummel a Frostfang, that's disgusting.
Oh, it looks like it's an Oldhim mirror in the finals.
An Ultimera.
Oh boy, I thought we were gonna finish early.
No way.
No way.
So can we change the rule and give them only 1 hour, or please go ask the judges.
For the finals.
All right, looks like we're gonna go on break before the finals. So stay tuned for the Oldhim mirror because it's gonna be here for a while. So yeah, we'll take a short break. I think it will be a couple minutes and then we'll be back. I'm not sure in what configuration we'll be back, but you'll see.